Hey guys, welcome. This is George Nassa. What I'd like to introduce to you today is something really advanced, um, but a lot of people probably don't even know about this actual tool. But what's important here is to actually work with the relief and the assembly at the same time and use prawns that are already in the assembly instead of putting them on the actual relief. And you'll be able to put them in a specific place versus you could only do them on top. So what I'm going to go over right now is some of the actual features and some of the tools. We're going to use this particular tool right here, which is a lot of people, it's called Lay on Surface. I'm going to open this up just right here. So this is called Lay on Surface. You could see it. Let's adjust this so you can see what these tools do. But what's important right here, under the model right here, instead of going to the rotary axis, I'm going to pick something from what it's called new shanks, okay? So these particular shanks, you could actually use them as is, or you could modify them the way you like. Okay, so I'm just going to take something very, very simple. Let's take this half round one. You can see here, it already says the name and it says the size and the measurements. And you could create the width and you could do the border and you could do the thickness and the actual resolution. Now, when I select it here, automatically RCam or Autodesk is gonna generate this actual particular ring. Already made it for us. I don't have to sweep. So if you look at the actual 2D, you can see if I would sweep this manually, I would actually select the top, hold the shift key, hold the bottom. So we'll go like this, hold the shift key, and the cross section, and then I would sweep it. Okay, I'll do the two rail sweep, and then it will create the same exact thing. So let's say I want to change this. Before I accept it here, I could rebuild it. So what that means is I could actually change this cross section. Let's say um, make this cross section go this way, right? And let's make this cross section go this way. And I want to say rebuild it. And you can see it changed it up, dramatically. So made it more flat. Okay. So if you're happy with this, we could actually accept it. Okay. Now we have the actual ring, but that's how you can modify a shank and so forth. So what's important here right now is we have the relief. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this relief to the actual assembly. And then we're going to work with the actual assembly. But you have to have this relief. So I'm going to add it to the model. Okay. And close it with the back relief. That's fine. Create. So here's our model. We're going to do, which is plain shank. Add it to the project. Okay. So now if we toggle between the two here, let's see. See. What I'm going to do, I'm going to change the color of this by clicking on the plain shank, and I'm going to change the color. Let's see if that will work. Let's make this blue wax. Okay, so we know that's our assembly, and we're gonna, if you notice this here, it says go back home. That will bring you back to these tools. So I'm gonna move it over a little bit so you can, when I bring this back, this is the actual relief and this is the actual assembly, but you could leave them on top of each other. But I just want to show you how that works so you get an idea. Okay, so when we go to the assembly, this tool lights up. Okay, before you do anything, unless you have it here, that's not gonna light up. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring a gem, and let's see, let's go back to the here. I'm a little bit ahead of myself. So let's bring a gem in first, okay? So let's bring a diamond. Let's give this, let's say 1.5 millimeter, 1.5, and I'm gonna do it 1 millimeter in height, and I'm gonna accept it. So we have a gem here, and then I'm gonna bring in a prawn. Okay, so if you go here, I'm gonna go under primitives. Okay, so in this under this here, you can see it right there. You can have all these options. So we could bring in a prawn. Now these all, you could actually create your own and add it here. So I'm gonna bring in a prawn, but these prawns here, you see it says 3 millimeter. You could adjust it. So let's make it 0.50 millimeter, and I'm gonna import it. So if we go to the bead, and let's move it a little bit, so it's not inside the diamond. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, instead of, like, usually I would draw the actual let me see here, the gems. I will create them here. I'll punch the holes, which is you should before you put the diamonds in. But if you don't want any holes under there, that's fine too. But if you want to see holes under the gems, you should punch that relief. Okay, So here's what I'm going to do. So this what's going to do is help you place these on the actual model in a 3D form instead of just the relief form. Okay. So if I take this gem, so if I go back here to this gem and I go to lay on relief, I'm going to grab it and it's going to allow me to place it anywhere on this. Okay, so we're gonna take the gem. When we click on this tool, we could actually grab the gem and put it anywhere we wish. Okay, you could bring them here. You could do multiple gems. You could see automatically here, it's creating them here as well. Okay, so you could grab and bring them over here and do different gems. You could, put them anywhere you wish. Okay, let's delete this one. Oh, okay, so let's see this one here. Let's delete that one, get it out of there. Okay, and let's see this gem. We're gonna delete this one. Okay, there you go. So I don't want this one. This one, we don't need this guy anymore. Okay, so now we could take them and place them instead of, so you already have them in there. So let's delete this one as well. So I was just showing you how you could align them. Okay, you could fix them up. You could put them anywhere you wish. Okay. So now by adding the prawns, we do the same thing. By selecting this, we could, this is the tool that's lay on relief. You could actually bring the prawn. You can move it anywhere you want. By holding the control key on the keyboard, you're making copies, okay? So you can see I make a copy of each one, okay? So now if these beads aren't tall enough, which is they're not, so I'm gonna delete this one here. Or we could just, let me just delete them quickly. Let's get rid of this. And we're going to delete anything we don't want, okay? So let's see. One, because I only want to leave one. Okay. So now by selecting this one, if I go to this tool here, nudge, or we could go to scale, I could raise it up higher, or I could do it by percentage, but I don't want the width to change. I want the height to change. So if I make it 1 millimeter and apply, you can see the prawn is taller now. So that's more realistic. Now, if you want it to look differently, you could bring in a different prawn, like more rounded if you like. I'm sorry, more flat if you like it flat. So by selecting that, but you need to change the size, 0.50, 0.50, make this one 1 millimeter import. You can see that's a taller prawn. And you could take it, okay, and you could place it here. All right. So let's get rid of this one here now. It's open, but what's important too, make sure a lot of these have their own, they're not sitting inside of another assembly. So I would create something with say like beads here, put them all in the beads. I would do something just the gems so they're not all over the place. So that way it's much easier to find. Okay. So like see how these two are moving together because they're stuck together here. So let's get rid of this guy. See, that's why I don't use this much because a lot of times if you're not paying attention, all of a sudden you're pulling everything at the same time. Okay, so we're gonna hold the, so let's create one here. Okay, let's make a new assembly, and I want to call this one prawns. Okay, so that way all the prawns are in it. Okay, so we're gonna select this and hold the control, move them around. You can see it's putting them all with the beads. So let's say here. Okay, so we could do different styles. So make sure you keep your control key on the keyboard held down, otherwise it's not gonna copy. Okay, so I'll just do this right now. You can see now But if you don't have this relief, it will not work. Okay, so it's very important that you have the relief. So now you could shut them down or you could move them around. See them here? So that's all part of this. You can see this is here. So now when you export it, you export the SDL file. You could export all these, all the beads, all that, but you can see it becomes overwhelming. And that's why it's easier just to create something. But I wanted you to see what this tool does and how powerful it is, because a lot of times you want to put the gems here, you know. You could put them on the sides if you like. So let's say a flat here. You could move them. If this was like you want to do a pave, you could move them around. You could rotate these, okay? So that way you could put them you could place them in a different place and so forth, okay? So you have a little bit more control of your gems. But that's just, I just wanted to go over something like this. I hope you enjoy this. Please leave a lot of comments and hope to see you soon. Thank you for watching.